Chapter 281 Are we taking the blame for the earth? What? Breaking through the fourth level of the tribulation realm. Hearing what Jifeng said, Zhu Hu and Hua Qianyu couldn't believe their ears. Wait. At this moment, Zhu Hu suddenly thought of something, looked at Jifeng and said hurriedly, "Young Master Yi, are you kidding us? You know, every breakthrough in the tribulation realm requires a thunder tribulation. You can go to the door and see what's going on outside. Because of some special reasons of my own, when I break through, the thunder tribulation will not strike me, but will strike the ground. If there are people around, it will strike those people. In short, I break through, and the earth or others will resist the thunder tribulation for me." Haha. Hearing Yifeng's words, Zhu Hu and Hua Qianyu couldn't help laughing. If they believed Yifeng's nonsense, they would be really stupid. "Zhu Hu, what do you want to do? Are you stupid? If you really go to see it, wouldn't that be a slap in Yishao's face? Just sit down and soak your feet, and continue to listen to Yishao's nonsense." Seeing Zhu Hu standing up, Hua Qianyu also quickly scolded Zhu Hu with his spiritual sense. He was soaking in other people's precious soul-purifying water, but he still wanted to hit others in the face. Isn't this a tiger? Hua Qianyu had already forgotten that he had not told Zhu Hu the truth about the foot basin and the foot-soaking water. Outside the house. When the heavenly calamity cloud dissipated again, many strong men in the mansion were like frightened birds, and began to flee quickly in all directions, fearing that the cultivator in the house would continue to break through. Boom! Not long after everyone fled, a breath of breakthrough permeated from the house again. Hey! It's coming again. Feeling this familiar breath of breakthrough, Lu Han sighed helplessly. Come on. Be a good person to the end, send the Buddha to the west. Today he breaks through, I resist the thunder, I want to see whether I will exhaust all the spiritual power in my body first, or he will stop breaking through first. Thinking of this, Lu Han was also ready to continue to resist the heavenly thunder tribulation. After a long time. Hey! Grandpa Lu, what are you doing sitting on the ground? Also, why are your hair so frizzy? At this time, Zhu Hu, who came out of the house with a foot basin, saw Lu Han sitting on the ground with his hair standing up in the courtyard, and asked with surprise. What are you doing sitting on the ground? I'm so tired, can't I sit down and rest for a while? Then Lu Han touched the messy hair on his head and said to himself in a state of despair, damn it, my hair is all blown up. Grandpa Lu. I just heard something very funny. Young Master Yi said that he had just broken through the third, fourth and fifth levels of the tribulation realm, and also said that because of some special reasons of his own, the thunder tribulation would not strike him, but would strike the ground instead. If there were people around, it would strike those people. This is simply impossible, but he said it as if it were true. Isn't it funny? Zhu Hu walked to Lu Han's side at this time, and suddenly lowered his voice, and said with a smile. Ha ha ha. Funny. It's so funny. If I hadn't just experienced it myself, I would have felt it was impossible. Hearing Zhu Hu's words, Lu Han also laughed with his head raised, but as he laughed, tears flowed down uncontrollably. He really wanted to yell at Zhu Hu at this moment, why didn't you come out and tell us about this earlier? If we had known that this thunder tribulation would not strike you, we would have run away earlier. Are we taking the blame for the earth? Splash. At this moment, Zhu Hu also directly poured out the soul-purifying water in the foot basin. That's it. Soul-purifying water. When Lu Han saw the soul-purifying water that Zhu Hu poured out, his eyes were wide open in shock. Soul-purifying water was just poured out like that. With an unbelievable look, Lu Han looked at Zhu Hu and asked, Mr. Zhu, what was that water just now? It's just foot bath water. But I have to say, this foot bath water is very comfortable. I have to ask Mr. Yi what kind of water it is later. After returning to the family, I will ask my father to get me more, and I will use it to bathe my feet in the future. Hearing Lu Han's inquiry, Zhu also explained with a look of aftertaste. Soul-purifying water for foot bath? Want your father to get you more? Either don't lose money, or you have to work hard towards the goal of losing everything? Hearing this, Lu Han was a little worried that Zhu would be beaten to death. Inside the house. Young Master Hua. Don't tell young Master Zhu about the foot basin and the soul-purifying water. Young Master Zhu's situation is a bit special. I have to let him enjoy the joy of being a spendthrift first. Only in this way can he become a qualified spendthrift. Yi Feng looked at Hua Qianyu seriously and said. What? Hearing this, Hua Qianyu got anxious and looked at Yi Feng and said quickly, Young Master Yi, Zhu is not smart. The starting point you gave is too high. I'm afraid that if he really feels the joy of being a spendthrift, his family's assets will not be enough for him to spend. Crazy, Hua Qianyu was really going crazy at this time. He really wanted to tell Yi Feng that our prodigals are different from your prodigals. Young Master Hua, I think you are also a good candidate for prodigals. Are you interested in joining my prodigal family? Looking at Hua Qianyu with an anxious face, Yi Feng suddenly asked this question. Prodigal family? What kind of force is that? Hearing Yi Feng's words, Hua Qianyu was stunned, and then asked with a puzzled look, Young Master Yi, what is the prodigal family? Join the prodigal family, you are a member of the prodigal family in life and a ghost of the prodigal family in death. You can have endless spirit stones and spirit crystals. Under the premise of abiding by the rules of the sect, you can spend money as much as you want, spend money without restraint, and spend money without humanity. And I am the leader of the prodigal family. The first iron rule of the sect rules is that you must be loyal to the leader. Yi Feng looked at Hua Qianyu with a serious face and explained. System, put some top-grade spirit crystals in a space ring for me. Seeing that Hua Qianyu on the other side was a little unconvinced, Yi Feng also said directly to the system. Mr. Hua, don't think I'm joking. Take a look at this space ring. As he said that, Yi Feng threw a space ring to Hua Qianyu. Peng. Hua Qianyu, meet the master. Please give Qianyu a chance to join the Baijiao sect. After Hua Qianyu checked the space ring, he knelt down directly in front of Yi Feng without any hesitation. Seeing Hua Qianyu so determined to join the prodigal family, Yi Feng curiously asked the system, how many top-grade spirit crystals are in that space ring? Ding. There are 33,000-meter-high top-grade spirit crystal mountains in it. Damn. Hearing the system's words, Yi Feng couldn't help but exclaimed, the space in this space ring is so fucking big. Chapter 282 This is a death worm, and you still want to cook a dish? Ding. Host, is your focus off? Hearing Yi Feng's exclamation, the system couldn't help but complain. You said to pretend a little, I actually installed 33,000-meter-high top-grade spirit crystal mountains. And you said the space in this space ring is big? The focus is off? Where is it off? As a spendthrift, should I be amazed by those 33 small top-grade spiritual crystal mountains? Hearing the system's complaints, Yi Feng also asked with a sly smile. Alas! If you can't argue with me, you just pretend to be dead. This is very systematic. Finding that the system did not respond for a long time, Yi Feng also sighed helplessly, and then looked directly at Hua Qianyu in front of him. After a moment. It's done. It seems that Hua Qianyu is indeed a good loser. Seeing Hua Qianyu pass the loyalty test of the system and successfully become a loser disciple, Yi Feng couldn't help laughing. Master, Qianyu will never let you down. I will definitely work hard to lose the family and carry forward the loser style of the loser sect. Hearing Hua Qianyu's words, Yi Feng also showed a touch of relief. The loser sect needs a loser disciple like Hua Qianyu who works hard and makes progress. Young Master Yi. Just now my father sent me a message and asked me to rush back to the family immediately. I'm afraid I can't stay with you. At this time, Zhu Hu walked in from outside the door and looked at Yifeng reluctantly and said, It's okay. I will arrange someone to discuss with your father right away to see if you can stay with me for a few more days. Hearing Zhu Hu's words, Yifeng also smiled and said the solution. Zilin City, Zhu family mansion. Master, no. That young man shouldn't hurt the young master, otherwise, he could kill the young master and me directly. If you contact them now, I'm afraid someone will come to you to discuss things. Seeing that Zhu Dashan, who didn't listen to advice, used the sound transmission stone to contact Zhu Hu and asked Zhu Hu to return to the family immediately, Zhang Cheng on the side was almost crying. Enough. Zhang Cheng, as the protector of the young master, you left the young master alone when he was in danger. What crime should you be punished for? Hearing Zhang Cheng's words, Zhu Dashan shouted angrily. Master, if I didn't do that, it doesn't matter if I die, the young master will die too. Looking at the furious Zhu Dashan, Zhang Cheng also hurriedly explained. He wanted to cry to death now. Why didn't the master believe what he said? The other party was really scary. Master, you look behind you. At this moment, Zhang Cheng stepped back several steps in a row with a look of horror, pointing at the one-armed madman behind Zhu Dashan and shouted. Enough. What are you shouting for? The sword is on my neck, I can't see it, do you want me to commit suicide? Hearing Zhang Cheng shouting, Zhu Dashan also cursed with horror to relieve his nervous mood. Let's discuss it. Let your son stay with my master for a few days, is that okay? At this time, the one-armed madman showed a bloodthirsty smile and discussed it directly with Zhu Dashan. Hantian City, Hua Mansion. Young Master Yi, my father is a powerful person in the Ascension realm, and he is a man of his word. How did the person you sent discuss it with my father? After the voice transmission, Zhu Hu also showed a look of shock. Secret. Hearing Zhu Hu's question, Yifeng did not explain anything, but directly took out a death worm from the system space. As evening approached, he felt it was time to cook some delicious food, drink some good wine, and then have a good sleep. Fuck. Is this a death worm? Looking at the palm-sized and blood-red crayfish in his hand, Yifeng's eyes almost popped out of his head. System, are you there? Can you give me a reasonable explanation? After recovering from his shock, Yifeng also asked the system directly. Ding. Remind the host that the death worm can only be stimulated to be truly delicious if it is cooked after an abnormal death. I asked you why the death worm is so similar to the crayfish, and then you are teaching me the precautions for cooking? Hearing what the system said, Yifeng also revealed a bitter smile. He felt that the system was taking the opportunity to retaliate. Abnormal death? That means it must bite a person or a monster, and then die quickly, within 1 minute. This is an abnormal death. Thinking of this, Yifeng directly looked at Zhu Hu, who was staring at the death worm. Death bug. It's actually the most common yet most terrifying death bug in the Heavenly Dao battlefield. Zhu Hu was already scared silly when he saw the death bug in Yifeng's hand. You know, he almost died at the hands of this death bug. If he hadn't been so lucky and bitten by another death bug within a minute, he would have died long ago. Moreover, he didn't know it was a death worm at first, and he only found out after he came back to look through the family secret book. When Zhu Hu was reminiscing about the past, he suddenly felt a sting in his right thumb. When he recovered, he noticed that Yifeng actually took the death worm and bit his thumb. Young Master Yi. This is a death worm. If I get bitten, I will die with the death worm within a minute. After reacting, Zhu Hu shouted at Yifeng with fear on his face. Just after shouting, Zhu was dumbfounded when he saw Yifeng take out another death worm and bite him. You know, you can't bring living things out of the Tiandao battlefield, and the death worm is a special species in the Tiandao battlefield according to the family secret book. He was puzzled. How could Yifeng have a living death worm in his hand, and what puzzled him even more was why Yifeng used 2 living death worms to bite him. Wait. Master Yi, what are you going to do? Seeing Yifeng casually throw 2 dying death bugs to the ground, and then take out a living death bug and walk towards him, Zhu admitted that at this moment, he panicked. Brother Hua, please persuade Master Yi. This is a death worm. This thing is not to be played like this. Zhu also hurriedly shouted to Hua Qianyu, beside him. If he didn't know that he was no match for Yifeng, he would have jumped out of the window and ran away. Master Zhu, don't be nervous. I have a lot of death worms in my hands, and this death worm can only cook its deliciousness if it dies abnormally, so I will lend you your fingers to let them bite a few more times. Seeing Zhu who was very nervous at this time, Yifeng also explained with a smile. Delicious? Such a terrifying death worm, you actually want to cook a dish? Is this thing edible? Chapter 283 9981 Difficulties, Luhan collapsed. Hearing what Yifeng said, Zhu was about to explode. He really wanted to yell at Yifeng now. Hua Qianyu has a lot of meat, why don't you use the death bugs to bite him, and he is greedy by nature, these death bugs can be given to him to eat, can you please let me live? Hua Qianyu, who was standing aside, was trembling slightly with his fat body at this time. He thought his master was just playing, but he really didn't expect that Yifeng would not even let go of the dead death bug. Looking at the extremely ugly death worms, Hua Qianyu murmured to himself with a firm expression, even if I starve to death, I will never eat a bite of this thing. When Zhu was bitten by 20 death worms, he saw Yifeng took out a live death worm again, and asked in a panic, Young Master Yi, how many death worms do you have? Not many. I have 1,000 in my hand now. To be honest, when we drink tonight, I'm afraid these death worms won't be enough for the 3 of us to eat. Hearing Zhu's question, Yifeng also said with concern. Not enough to eat? Who wants to eat these ugly death worms? It's not enough for you to let them bite me, and you want me to eat them? Hearing Yifeng's words, looking at the 20 dead insects on the ground not far away, Zhu suddenly missed home at this moment. He thought that it should be a very happy thing to follow Yifeng without spending money, but now it seems that it is better to be forced to spend money. If the insect bites me, I will eat the insect. No, I am too bad. Thinking of this, Zhu ran out of the house directly. Mr. Zhu. What are you doing? Luhan, who was sitting cross-legged in the courtyard, found that Zhu picked him up and walked towards the house, which made him ask with a puzzled look, because he was recovering his spiritual power. When Yifeng and Hua Qianyu saw Zhu carrying Luhan directly in, they also showed a confused look on their faces. Brother Hua, what are you looking at there? Come and sit down. After putting Luhan on the ground, Zhu also sat cross-legged on the side in a formal manner, and then shouted directly to Hua Qianyu who was not far away. Soon, the 3 of them sat cross-legged in a row, and seeing this scene, Yifeng was even more confused, because he didn't understand what Zhu was going to do at all. Come on, young Master Yi. Release the remaining death bugs to bite us. Otherwise, if you take them out to bite me one by one, you won't be able to bite them all when it gets dark. Zhu also explained directly to Yifeng at this time. Since it's a loss, just drag 2 people to take the blame. Why should he be tortured by the death bugs alone? This is what Zhu thought in his heart. Fuck. That's the death bug. When the confused Luhan saw the densely packed more than 900 death bugs released by Yifeng, his expression changed drastically, and he exclaimed, and his eyes revealed endless fear. Death bugs, that is one of the most terrifying special bugs in the Tiandao battlefield. Thinking that he would be bitten by so many death bugs, Lu Han got up and prepared to escape from here. Let go. Mr. Zhu, Mr. Hua, let me go. You young people are playing too perverted, I am too old to stand your torture. Seeing Zhu Hu and Hua Qianyu on both sides holding his thighs tightly, Lu Han was going crazy. Old Lu, you can't leave. If you leave, we will be bitten more than 100 times. Grandpa Lu, the bites of these death bugs are nothing. The real challenge is to eat them later. You have to help us eat more later. We have to eat these dead death bugs later? You young people are really good at eating. After hearing Zhu Hu's words, Lu Han was scared and lay on the ground and crawled towards the door with all his strength. If he couldn't afford to offend the two young masters, he would have released a trace of spiritual power to shock them away. You are so good at playing? Seeing Lu Han dragging Zhu Hu and Hua Qianyu to crawl towards the door, Yifeng was also interested and said directly to the system, "System, let Xiaojian come over. He knows what to do." Almost. Almost. Finally, I'm going to crawl out of this horrible house. Excited heart, trembling hands. With an excited look, Lu Han crawled out of the door first. However, just as Lu Han's head had just crawled out of the door, a bloody rapier suddenly landed on the back of his neck. Climb back. Otherwise, I'll chop your head off. I'll stay here. If any of you three dare to disobey my lord's orders, or if anyone dares to escape again, I'll chop off his head with a sword. Then, the excited voice of the one-armed madman rang from Lu Han's ear. Gulp, turning his head, he saw a crouching one-armed swordsman with a crazy look. Feeling the terrifying breath emanating from the other person that made him feel suffocated, Lu Han couldn't help swallowing his saliva, and then laughed dryly and said, "I'll crawl back immediately." After that, Lu Han supported himself on the ground with both hands and pushed forward, and his whole body retreated directly into the house. Huh? Old Lu, why did you retreat again? Seeing Lu Han retreat, Hua Qianyu, who was holding Lu Han's left thigh tightly, asked in surprise. Young master, there is a big terror outside. You must not. Before Lu Han finished speaking, Hua Qianyu and Zhu Hu stood up and rushed out of the house with a look of surprise. Boom. Seeing this scene, Lu Han, who was lying on the ground, only felt a loud explosion in his mind, and the terrifying scene of the two people's heads being chopped off appeared in his mind. Grandpa Lu, there's nothing outside. Where's the big terror? However, just as Lu Han was about to rush out to save the two young masters, Zhu Hu returned to the house first, and then looked at Lu Han with confusion and asked. Brother Zhu, can you use your pig brain before you speak and act in the future? It's obvious that old Lu wants to find a way out for himself. After all, the two of us are still here. How could old Lu abandon us? At this time, when Hua Qianyu walked into the house, he directly scolded Zhu Hu loudly. There's nothing outside? The big terror said it was going to target the three of us, but it shook me. It was actually just targeting me. Hearing what the two said, Lu Han's mentality collapsed instantly. First, he helped Yi Xiao resist the thunder tribulation, then he was singled out by the great terror, and then he was bitten by the death bugs, and even had to eat the dead death bugs in the end. Is this the hardship that an old man should experience? Chapter 284, Testing Poison with Monsters? Death bugs, I will fight you. Thinking of these hardships, the collapsed Lu Han supported himself with both hands and slid straight towards the dense death bugs on the opposite side. Old Lu. Grandpa Lu. How can we let you fight alone? We are here. Follow suit. After Hua Qianyu and Zhu Hu lay on the ground, they also slid towards the death bug swarm like Lu Han. System, use the spy function twice to check what cultivation resources Zhu Hu and Old Lu need. Looking at the three people covered with death bugs, Yifeng also gave the system a direct order. Hua Qianyu is already a prodigal disciple, so there is no need to pay any hard work fee, but for Zhu Hu and Lu Han, Yifeng can't let them help for nothing. After all, as a prodigal rich man, he will not cheat people, he just wants to give others warmth. Ding. After using the function of spying on the secrets of heaven twice, Zhu Hu needs a gold-tempered stone to forge a weapon suitable for himself, and Lu Han needs many auxiliary pills, materials for arranging several formations, and defensive spiritual tools to meet the 8th heavenly thunder tribulation. It is recommended that the host directly give the other party a god-level tribulation-breaking pill. After hearing the system's prompt sound, Yifeng looked directly at Lu Han and said, "Old Lu, I know you have been looking for many resources that can withstand the 8th heavenly thunder tribulation. Don't worry, I won't let you help in vain. After these deadly insects die from biting you, I will give you a god-level tribulation-breaking pill, which can allow you to directly survive the 8th heavenly thunder tribulation. Mr. Zhu, I know you have been looking for gold-tempered stones to forge a weapon suitable for you, and I will give you a gold-tempered stone later." Stare. Zhu Hu and Lu Han, who were lying on the ground and being bitten by the death bugs, suddenly brightened their eyes after hearing what Yifeng said, especially Lu Han. Although he had never heard of the god-level breaking tribulation pill, he really believed it when Yifeng said it. After all, there were even death bugs that could not be brought out of the heavenly Tao battlefield, so what was the point of taking out the god-level breaking tribulation pill that had never been heard of? Pung. Excited heart, trembling feet. Thinking of the treasures they could get later, Zhu Hu and Lu Han kicked out their right feet together as if they had a telepathic connection and kicked Hua Qianyu's fat body out. What brother Hua? What young master? At this moment, no one can compete with them for the death bug. Instead, they hope to be bitten a few more times, otherwise they will feel uneasy about the reward. As for why Hua Qianyu has no benefit, they don't think too much about it. When Hua Qianyu slid to Yifeng and stopped, a hint of embarrassment appeared on his face. "Qianyu, do you know any prodigal sons?" Looking at Hua Qianyu lying under him, Yifeng also asked with a smile to ease the other party's embarrassment. "Prodigal son? Master, I do know a few prodigal sons. Do you want to take them into the prodigal sect?" Hearing Yifeng's question, Hua Qianyu also answered quickly. "Find the one with the best relationship, and ask him to come over early tomorrow morning. I need him to help me a little. As for whether he will be accepted into the prodigal sect, it depends on whether he is suitable." Since he decided to speed up his ascension to the upper realm again, Yifeng was not going to hang out anymore. He simply completed the special prodigal mission here. As long as his strength broke through to the peak of the 9th level of the tribulation realm, he could ascend to the upper realm at any time, whether it was with the golden hut or the god-level tribulation-breaking pill. "Master, leave this to me. I will leave right away and will definitely bring him here early tomorrow morning." Hearing what Yifeng said, Hua Qianyu was so excited that he almost cried. He finally had a reason to escape from here. He finally didn't have to eat the deadly insects that he couldn't eat. "Don't worry. Tomorrow morning, I will give you a few space portals, and you can just teleport there. Next, we just sit here and wait, and we must eat and drink well tonight." "What?" After hearing what Yifeng said, Hua Qianyu hurriedly said, "Master, no, that guy is not very far from Xilin City, it is not worth wasting a few space portals." The hope of escape was shattered, which Hua Qianyu absolutely could not accept. He was so anxious that he even forgot his and Yifeng's identities. Not worth wasting? "Qianyu, we are the prodigal sons standing at the top of the pyramid, are we still afraid of wasting?" After hearing what Hua Qianyu said, Yifeng looked at Hua Qianyu with a puzzled look and asked back. "Fuck. I forgot about this. Is it really hard to escape the doom tonight?" After hearing what Yifeng said, Hua Qianyu's face was full of collapse. Facing the extremely ugly death worm, he really couldn't eat it. After a moment, When all the death bugs died, a space crack appeared, and Bai Gang appeared directly on the 9th grade gourd flying spiritual tool. This is, death bugs. When Bai Gang saw the death bugs piled up like a small mountain, a look of surprise appeared on his face. He didn't expect that the food that Yifeng asked him to cook would actually use death bugs as ingredients. Young Master Yi, can this thing be eaten? Bai Gang looked at Yifeng with some uncertainty and asked. Why can't it be eaten? This thing is absolutely delicious. Has no one ever eaten it? After hearing what Bai Gang said, Yifeng also asked with a puzzled look on his face. Young Master Yi, this life-destroying worm only exists in the battlefield of heaven. Moreover, because it is not a demon beast, there is no demon power in its body, plus some special conditions of its own. Even the strong men in the ascending realm cannot detect it when it is hidden underground. Once bitten, the strong men in the ascending realm will die, and within a minute, it will dive back into the ground, and basically no one can see their corpses. Even if someone accidentally discovers it, even if it is a corpse, I am afraid they will hide far away. After all, no one dares to guarantee whether there are other living life-destroying worms nearby. Hearing what Bai Gang said, Yifeng also revealed a touch of surprise. He really didn't know these situations. Young Master Yi. If you really want to eat it, why don't I get a monster first? If the monster is okay, we can eat it later? It's not that I don't trust Master Yi, but I have to be responsible for the safety of Master Zhu and Master Hua, and I hope Master Yi can understand. Lu Han stood up and said what he was thinking. Test the poison with a monster? Yifeng was not angry when he heard Lu Han's proposal. After all, he believed in this system, but it was reasonable for everyone to be a little worried about this terrifying death worm. Chapter 285. He is strong, but the sword dog fights for poison food? This is a good thing. Even if you test the poison with a monster, you can't just find a monster. At this point, Yifeng looked directly at Bai Gang and said, Elder Bai, please go back to the sect and bring the dog here. Fierce. Tiger. Style. Shoot. Gate. At this moment, a voice full of excitement suddenly sounded from outside. What's that voice? As soon as I finished speaking, Yi Xiaotang brought the dog over. But how did she know my unique skill? After hearing that the voice was Yi Xiaotang's, Yifeng couldn't help laughing. Outside the house, in the air. With Yi Xiaotang's loud shout, the little foot with terrifying brute force kicked the dog's buttocks, directly. Bang! The confused little yellow dog instantly turned into a cannonball and shot towards the house below at a high speed. As the roof of the house was broken, the little yellow dog appeared directly in everyone's sight. Which? If it weren't for the mistress protecting you, I would definitely fight you to the death. The little yellow dog, whose head was smashed into the ground, cursed in his heart. Just now, it was sitting on the golden toilet in the demon toilet, preparing to excrete water and debris. Who would have thought that the little girl kicked open the golden door of the demon toilet and brought it here directly? And this fierce kick even kicked away its double excretion. Fuck. When the little yellow dog used its two front paws to support the ground and pulled out its head, it saw that everyone in the room was looking at it with a weird look, and its face instantly turned red like a monkey's butt. Thinking that it had just stuck out its buttocks and let so many people see it naked, the little yellow dog wanted to stuff its head into the ground again. Master. Just now I was squatting in the golden demon toilet, and the little witch kicked the golden door and brought me here, and then Before the little yellow dog could finish the rest of the sentence, then she kicked me down in such a rough way. Master, you have to make the decision for me, Yifeng interrupted directly and said, I asked her to bring you here. Hearing Yifeng's words, the little yellow dog was completely dumbfounded. This made it unable to do anything. She kicked the golden door and brought you here, and then what happened to you? Looking at the dumbfounded little yellow dog, Yi Feng couldn't help but ask jokingly. Then, I yelled at her, "The master is still waiting for me, kick harder." I will rush to the master's side at the fastest flying speed. Hearing Yi Feng's question, the little yellow dog's brain was working fast, and then he quickly answered. Ha ha ha. After hearing this, Yi Feng finally couldn't help laughing. He knew that the dog's answer would never disappoint him. Young Master Yi. Is this demon dog okay? Lu Han, who had recovered, also looked at Yi Feng and asked. He could see that this demon dog had a special relationship with Yi Feng. If something went wrong, it would be more trouble than gain. It would be better to find a demon beast to test the poison. Is it okay? I am the #1 sword dog on the continent, and this guy actually questioned my strength? The little yellow dog, who didn't know the situation, directly wanted to deviate from Lu Han's words. Boom! As a terrifying yellow spring sword intent burst out from the little yellow dog's body, a yellow sword embryo also emerged from its head. I am the #1 sword dog on the continent, do you think I can do it? The little yellow dog looked at Lu Han, who was full of shock, and asked directly. Fuck. He can be as strong as he wants, but sword dogs are fighting for poison food? After hearing what the little yellow dog said, Lu Han was going crazy. He was not asking about strength. Master Yi. This demon dog actually comprehended the yellow spring sword intent of the sword heart realm. I'm afraid there's no other one like it in the entire Xintian continent. We can't let it speak. If something unexpected happens, it will really be more trouble than it gains. Lu Han, who had recovered from his shock, also looked at Yi Feng and quickly persuaded him. Zhu Hu and Hua Qianyu on the side were almost crying to death. They also practiced the sword path. Although their comprehension of the sword intent reached the ultimate sword intent, if they wanted to break through to the sword heart realm, they might not have hope within 100 years without the opportunity. But now there is just such a demon dog that can't practice human sword path, but actually comprehended the rare yellow spring sword intent and reached the sword heart realm. This is not 100,000 critical hits, it's simply a critical hit for every sword. When the little yellow dog heard Lu Han's words, he realized that he should have misunderstood, but he was curious about what on earth could use his handsome and charming dog mouth. Elder Bai, let's get started. Everyone, let's take a seat. Hearing Lu Han's persuasion, Yi Feng smiled and shook his head, and directly asked Bai Gang to start cooking the death worm. Afterwards, he also took out pots of Wanchao Jingjiang. The days left in the lower world were numbered. After a few months of busy work, Yi Feng was ready to relax tonight. Seeing that Yi Feng had made up his mind, Lu Han stopped persuading him and could only sit at the table with Zhu Hu and Hua Qianyu, waiting for the death worms being cooked. What? What are you doing? Speak clearly, what on earth do you want to use my dog mouth for? Seeing everyone sitting down directly, the little yellow dog was stunned, and there was an inexplicable uneasiness in his heart. This is the power of the kitchen cultivator. I really don't know how these special spices are made. Smelling the fragrance, Zhu Hu and Hua Qianyu couldn't help swallowing their saliva. They felt that with this kind of spice, let alone the death worm, even the shoes on their feet can make people want to take a bite. If they were rejected before, then now there is a little expectation, mainly because they really didn't expect that Yi Feng would have such a powerful kitchen cultivator by his side. It's like having a piece of raw beef, let alone appetite, it's really hard to eat, but let a top chef with all kinds of tools and condiments do it, it's completely different. After a long time, when Bai Gang brought a plate of death worms to the table, looking at the death worms with color, fragrance, and taste, everyone felt that the wait was worth it. The little yellow dog lying on the table was already looking forward to it, wishing he could eat the delicious death worms right away. Dog, eat it. At this time, Yi Feng directly placed a plate of death worms in front of the little yellow dog. Did you see it? This is my position in the master's heart. Even if you are sitting at the table, the master will let me eat first. Seeing that the three people at the table did not move their chopsticks, the little yellow dog also showed a smug look at the three people. However, what the little yellow dog did not know was that Zhu Hu, Hua Qianyu, and Lu Han were staring at the little yellow dog with worried eyes. They were really afraid that the little yellow dog would directly ascend to heaven after eating a bite. Chapter 286, The dog was confused. Am I here to test the poison? Delicious. Master, this thing is so delicious. I want to eat more after eating it. After the whirlwind, the little yellow dog also expressed his thoughts after the meal. Okay, now the dog has finished eating, and there is nothing wrong with it. Now everyone can eat with confidence. Hearing what the little yellow dog said, Yifeng also said to Zhu Hu, Hua Qianyu, and Lu Han with a smile on his face. Seeing that the four people at the table just started to eat, the little yellow dog lying on the ground was directly confused. I finished eating, nothing's wrong, you guys can eat without worry? You called me here, just to let me test the poison for you? After understanding everything, the little yellow dog's first reaction was to find his brother Mantis to cry and complain, but he suddenly realized that this was not a sect, and his brother Mantis was not here. Not bad. It's really good. No wonder the system says that this death worm is extremely delicious. After eating it, people can't stop eating it. Yifeng, who quickly ate a large plate of death worms, couldn't help but marvel at the deliciousness of the death worms. Huh? Dog, what are you doing? Noticing that the little yellow dog ran to the place where it fell before, and stuffed the dog's head into the pit again, looking at this scene, Yifeng also asked with confusion. Master. You continue to eat, don't worry about me, I want to be quiet. Soon, the dull voice of the little yellow dog came out of the small pit. Want to be quiet? Has the desire to be quiet begun to spread across races? Hearing what the little yellow dog said, Yifeng also laughed helplessly, and then said, Dog, you can be quiet, but can you turn your dog's butt to the other side? It really affects our appetite. After a long time. Elder Bai, take these plates of death bugs back to my master. Dog, don't stay in the pit and think about it, hurry back to the sect and practice hard for me. Looking at Bai Gang and the little yellow dog leaving through the space portal, Yifeng also asked Hua Qianyu to arrange a place for him to live. Zhu Hu, do you still feel bad about squandering money now? Although I don't know how Master Yi brought the death bug out of the heavenly Dao battlefield, if used properly, a death bug can take the life of a powerful Ascension Realm warrior. How much did we eat just now? After Yifeng left, Hua Qianyu asked Zhu Hu directly. This. Although Zhu Hu wanted to say that it was wrong to squander money, his mind was full of the death bug, which tasted so damn delicious. If he didn't squander money, where would he find so many enemies to use up the death bug reasonably? If he really did that, he might not be able to eat a plate in half a year. But if he wanted to eat it all at once, he could only do it by doing this kind of defeated behavior. Zhu Hu, you said before that footbath is very comfortable. Do you know that the footbath water is soul purifying water? You still want to go back and ask your father to get more. If your father knew, do you believe that he would break your legs directly? It is no exaggeration to say that your family's wealth is not enough for you to soak your feet twice. Seeing that Zhu Hu was still struggling, Hua Qianyu once again said something that Zhu Hu could not believe. What? Hearing Hua Qianyu's words, Zhu Hu could not believe his ears. He couldn't believe that he had just soaked his feet before, and he actually soaked away half of his family's wealth. Although our level of squandering is not as high as that of Master Yi, you should have felt that squandering is not simply a waste, but can bring you enjoyment, both physically and mentally. And I heard from my father that your parents are preparing to have another child. You have to think about it. If you don't squander and enjoy, then those good things in your family will be enjoyed by your brother or sister. Hearing this, Zhu Hu's face gradually became serious, and then he took out the sound transmission stone and contacted his father directly. He wanted to squander, he wanted to start squandering hard, he wanted to enjoy, he wanted to start enjoying beautifully. Ding! Congratulations to the host for letting Zhu Hu realize what a real squanderer is, and issue 1/3 of the task reward. Congratulations to the host for getting 3 billion squandering points. Just when Yifeng was lying on the bed and preparing to find the 7 fairies to play games, the system's prompt sound suddenly rang from his mind. What's going on? Has 1/3 of the mission been completed? That guy Zhu Hu has indeed seen what a real prodigal is, but he is not a prodigal, so how can he help me complete the mission? At this time, Yifeng also revealed an extremely puzzled look, but he guessed that this should be related to Hua Qianyu, because when he left, Hua Qianyu left Zhu Hu alone. Before, I asked Zhu Hu and Lu Lao to help kill those death bugs. After paying them hard work fees, the 2 prodigal behaviors triggered a reward of 200 million prodigal points, but compared with the reward of this special prodigal task, it really feels nothing. Since I have obtained another 3 billion prodigal points, let's break through again. Break through directly from the peak of the 5th level of the Tribulation Realm to the peak of the 8th level of the Tribulation Realm, and I am getting closer and closer to ascension. If I can completely complete the special prodigal task on my friend Hua Qianyu tomorrow, I can directly break through to the peak of the 9th level of the Tribulation Realm. At that time, I can ascend at any time. Thinking of this, Yifeng also revealed a hint of expectation, and then directly consumed the prodigal points to start the breakthrough. Boom! As the ordinary calamity cloud once again enveloped the sky above the Hua mansion, Lu Han also shouted loudly, "Everyone in the mansion listen carefully, everyone close the doors and windows immediately, no matter what happens outside, don't go out, and don't open the window to look outside out of curiosity, otherwise any consequences will be borne by you." As Lu Han's voice spread throughout the Hua mansion, from the many powerful people in the mansion to the many servants in the mansion, everyone closed the doors and windows at the first time. They were really going crazy. They didn't know why the thunder calamity always fell in their mansion on this day. "Master! Come back soon, if you don't come back, you may not be able to find your home by then." Seeing the ordinary calamity clouds with lightning flashing in the sky, Lu Han was so scared that he quickly closed the window. He felt uncomfortable. He had endured all the hardships that the head of the family should have endured. The next morning, when everyone in the Hua mansion walked out of their respective residences, they saw that the ground of the mansion was full of large and small holes, and they all showed a touch of shock on their faces. They couldn't imagine how fierce the thunder calamity was yesterday, and it could actually destroy the mansion like this. Chapter 287 Sun Peng arrived, a prodigal disciple? "Qianyu, why haven't you gone to find your friend yet? By the way, where is Zhu Hu?" When Yifeng came to Hua Qianyu's residence, he found that Hua Qianyu was still sleeping, which made him ask with a puzzled look on his face. "Master." Hearing Yifeng's voice, Hua Qianyu suddenly woke up from his dream, and hurriedly got off the bed, and then explained, "The friend I know, Zhu Hu, also knows, and Zhu Hu is now beginning to enjoy the fun of squandering money." When he learned that he had to use the space portal to find Sun Peng, he rushed to go, and he should be back soon. Just as Hua Qianyu finished speaking, 2 space cracks suddenly appeared from the side, and soon, Zhu Hu and a young man in a white Taoist robe walked out of the 2 space cracks respectively. However, when the young man in white saw Yifeng, his expression suddenly changed. He then knelt down in front of Yifeng with excitement, and shouted respectfully, "Sun Peng, the disciple of the prodigal sect, greets the sect master." Fuck. Sun Peng actually joined the prodigal sect before me. This guy didn't even tell me about this good thing. Seeing this scene and feeling the fluctuation of the breath of the prodigal seal on the other party, Hua Qianyu on the side was also shocked and angry. Fuck. What's the situation with Sun Peng? What prodigal disciple, what sect master? And Zhu Hu on the side was completely confused at this time. Hua Qianyu. Why don't you kneel when you see the sect master? If the senior sister finds out, do you believe that she will peel off your fat skin? After also noticing the aura of the prodigal seal on Hua Qianyu, Sun Peng also shouted at Hua Qianyu anxiously. He did this purely for the sake of his brother. He knew that the sect master occupied an unparalleled position in the senior sister's heart. Bang! Seeing the anxious look on Sun Peng's face, Hua Qianyu also guessed that the other party must know a lot of things that he didn't know. Then he quickly knelt down in front of Yi Feng and shouted respectfully, "Prodigal disciple Hua Qianyu, meet the sect master." Dang! 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 Seeing this scene, Zhu Hu on the side was shocked and took several steps back. Although he didn't understand what was going on, he still cursed in his heart, "We three have been friends since we were young, and we agreed to share happiness and hardship together. As a result, you two bastards secretly joined the prodigal sect together. Then why don't you take me with you? System. What should we do now? This prodigal son is a disciple of the prodigal sect." Yi Feng was also confused at this time. He didn't expect that the friend Hua Qianyu mentioned was actually a member of the prodigal sect. And from what the other party said, he should have been accepted into the prodigal sect by his eldest disciple, Hua Yuming. Ding! The special prodigal task only requires the other party to be a prodigal son and let the other party know what a real prodigal is. It has nothing to do with the other party's identity. Soon, the voice of the system rang in Yifeng's mind. Can I still play like this? If I find 3 prodigal disciples directly, can I complete the task without doing anything? After hearing the system's explanation, Yifeng continued to ask with curiosity. Ding! That's right, because in the hearts of prodigal disciples, the host is their God, and the host does not need to prove to them what a real prodigal is. Fuck! Hearing this, Yifeng was really shocked. He felt that he had perfectly missed an opportunity to catch a bug. Ding! Congratulations to the host for letting Sun Peng realize what a real prodigal is. 1/3 of the task reward will be issued. Congratulations to the host for getting 3 billion prodigal points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the special wasteful task. Reward 10 billion wasteful points. Reward purple nether mysterious crystal *1, large piece. Reward Wuji Huanling liquid *10 barrels. At this moment, the reminder sound of the system issuing rewards rang in Yifeng's mind one after another. Stunned. Yifeng was directly stunned by this sudden reward. He didn't care much about the wasteful points now, but he cared about the 2 special rewards. Let's not talk about Wuji Huanling liquid, just talk about the purple nether mysterious crystal. When he gave Luo Qianxue a set of clothes, how much purple nether mysterious crystal could be used, and the result had already stunned Luo Qianxue, and this time the reward was a large piece. God knows how big the large piece mentioned by the system is. If he ascended to the upper realm and went to the Wuji Holy Land, and took out this large piece of purple nether mysterious crystal, who wouldn't be confused? Since I have so many identities in the lower realm, I have to get more identities when I go to the Wuji Holy Land in the upper realm. Thinking that his master is the saint of the Wuji Holy Land, Yifeng is also thinking about whether he should buy a saint's son or an elder at that time, which makes him very entangled. As for whether he can buy it, Yifeng is not worried at all. If he can't buy it, it means that he hasn't given enough. At this time, when Yifeng was thinking about these things, Zhu Hu had already learned some information about the Baijiamen from Sun Peng and Hua Qianyu. Master Zhu, what are you doing? When Yifeng found Zhu Hu kneeling on the ground, directly in a row with Hua Qianyu and Sun Peng, his face also revealed a confused look. Master Yi, I also want to join the prodigal sect. I am now ready to be a desperate prodigal son, and I also want to enjoy the happiness of being a prodigal son. I hope Master Yi can give me a chance. Hearing Yifeng's question, Zhu also hurriedly said what he thought in his heart. Okay, then I will give you a chance. But whether you can join the prodigal sect depends on you. Xinghuan sect. The three prodigal brothers. Although there is no task bug, it is a good thing to receive Zhu and Hua Qianyu, two prodigal disciples. After returning to Xinghuan sect, Yifeng also smiled and muttered to himself. My lord, you are looking for me. At this time, Yi Shaojian also came to Yifeng's residence. Shaojian, how long will it take for everyone in the sect to break through to the peak of the 9th level of the tribulation realm? Seeing Yi Shaojian coming, Yifeng asked directly. My lord, it will take at least half a month. And in order not to affect my master's plan, Xiaotang has slowed down the intensity of the master's training. If nothing unexpected happens, in half a month, everyone in the sect, including the sword dog, can break through to the peak of the 9th level of the tribulation realm. Hearing Yifeng's question, Yi Shaojian also answered quickly. I didn't expect it would take half a month. After all, I improved too fast. After listening to what Yi Shaojian said, Yifeng also revealed a bitter smile, and even thought that it would be great if he could go to the upper realm to play for 15 days and then come back. Chapter 288 Special Benefits, 15-Day Tour of the Upper Realm. Ding. Remind the host that you can consume 10 billion waste points to enjoy a 15-day tour of the Upper Realm. Huh? Hearing the prompt sound of the system suddenly sounded, Yifeng was stunned. He just thought about it, but he didn't expect the system to be real. Ding. The system will always pay attention to the host's mentality. After noticing that the host has a bored mentality, it specially launches this special benefit for you to solve the host's current troubles. Ding. As a spendthrift, the system cannot allow you to have any troubles. Hearing the sound of the system again, Yifeng also smiled helplessly. He also wanted to experience the various troubles of ordinary people, but the system would not let him. Wait. At this moment, Yifeng suddenly thought of something and asked the system directly, System, I still have more than 13 billion prodigal points, but I only need to consume another 100 million prodigal points to break through to the 9th peak of the tribulation realm. Are you deliberately cheating my prodigal points? Can these prodigal points be used normally in the upper realm? Ding. Remind the host that when you really ascend to the upper realm, all prodigal points will be cleared, and all cultivation resources belonging to the lower realm will be cleared. Ding. It is recommended that the host consume all prodigal points before really ascending, and leave all the cultivation resources obtained in the lower realm. Huh? After hearing the system's explanation, Yifeng was also stunned. He didn't expect this to be the case. If this is the case, then when he comes back from playing, it is necessary to meet his master. After all, the countless treasures at that time must not be cheap to outsiders. Luo Wuming, who has been guarding the sect gate in Xingji sect, never thought that a huge surprise would soon fall on him. In that case, these 10 billion prodigal points must be used to travel to the upper realm. Thinking of this, Yifeng asked the system again, System, can you send me directly to the vicinity of Wuji Holy Land? Ding. Successfully consumed 10 billion prodigal points, the upper realm transmission channel is opened. Damn. I just asked. I'm not ready yet. Hearing the sound of the system, seeing the space vortex that suddenly appeared in front of him, Yifeng didn't have a chance to react at all, and the whole person was sucked in directly. Upper realm. Although it is also very weak, it is definitely more interesting than Xiantian continent. It's a pity that my lord didn't take me with him, and I don't know which guy will get the advantage. Looking at Yifeng, who disappeared in front of him, Yi Shaojian on the side suddenly envied the other 8 official prodigal guards. Upper realm, Dongzhou, Yuanling City. With the appearance of a space crack, Yifeng soon appeared in an empty guest room. Ding. Temporarily increase the host's strength to the 1st level of the human fairyland. Ding. temporarily transformed the host's spiritual power into fairy power. Before Yifeng recovered, the system's prompt sound rang again in his mind, and at the same time, a huge amount of information emerged from his mind. The strength of the upper realm is divided into 10 realms: human fairyland, earth fairyland, heaven fairyland, mysterious fairyland, golden fairyland, fairy king realm, fairy emperor realm, fairy saint realm, fairy lord realm, and fairy god realm. Each realm is divided into 9 levels. After the peak of the 9th level of the fairy god realm, after enduring a heavenly thunder tribulation, you will reach the special first level of the fairy tribulation realm. After enduring 2 heavenly thunder tribulations, you will reach the second level of the fairy tribulation realm. The 9th level of the fairy tribulation realm is the top powerhouse in the upper realm. The terrifying forbidden place where you can survive 9 deaths. The mysterious and unknown ancient city of immortals. The chaotic wasteland with numerous bones. It took a long time for Yifeng to completely digest the huge amount of information that emerged in his mind. No wonder the system said that the upper world is much more fun than the lower world. In addition to the battlefield of heaven, there are indeed many places in the upper world that are worth visiting. After learning this information, Yifeng was already full of expectations for the upper world. It would definitely be fun to be arrogant and spendthrift in those places that people were terrified of. Squeak. At this moment, the door suddenly sounded, and then a gentle young man in white walked into the guest room. Huh? Who are you, and why are you in my guest room? When the young man in white saw Yifeng, he also asked with a puzzled look on his face. Brother, I want to say that I went the wrong way, do you believe it? Hearing the question of the young man in white, Yifeng also explained with embarrassment on his face, mainly because he did not expect that the system would directly send him to a guest room, and he was bumped into by the owner of the guest room. Brother? Who the hell is your brother? I, Lu Chongqing, one of the 3 quasi-saints of Wuji Holy Land, a peak cultivator of the 9th level of Xianxian realm. You, a nobody, a small follower of the 1st level of Rinxian realm. Why do you call me brother? Wait. Why would a person of my status and position get entangled with an unknown little follower? Thinking of this, Lu Chongqing was not prepared to get too entangled with Yifeng, and said directly, I believe it, you can leave now. Believed it? Damn, this guy actually believed it? Shouldn't he be furious because I broke into his guest room without permission, and then teach me a lesson? Let me go now? After hearing what the other party said, Yifeng was completely numb. Because of the system's thoughtfulness, he didn't feel any trouble in his life. As a result, he couldn't even meet someone who deliberately made trouble for him. He didn't meet many people in Xiantian continent. How come he couldn't meet them in the upper realm? Just leave with peace of mind. I, Lu Chongqing, am one of the 3 quasi-saints of Wuji Holy Land, and I don't even bother to attack a small cultivator like you. Seeing that Yifeng didn't respond for a long time, Lu Chongqing seemed to have thought of something, looked at Yifeng and spoke again. What? Quasi-saint of Wuji Holy Land? Isn't this a family member? After learning the other party's identity, Yifeng also showed a touch of shock, and this shock was seen by Lu Chongqing on the opposite side, but he enjoyed it very much. Pa. At this moment, Yifeng suddenly took out a fairy ring and put it on the table, looking at Lu Chongqing excitedly and said, I want to chat with you for a while, I wonder if it's convenient. I don't want to waste time on you, and you still want to chat with me for a while? What qualifications do you have for me to chat with you? Hearing Yifeng's words, Lu Chongqing's face was also full of black lines. He felt that Yifeng's brain seemed a little abnormal. Brother, sit down. Let's talk slowly. However, when Lu Chongqing found a fist-sized purple dark crystal in the fairy ring, his attitude towards Yifeng changed 180 degrees. Who is this guy? Such a rare and expensive purple dark crystal is taken just like that. Does he have something to rely on, or does he not know the value of the purple dark crystal at all? Isn't he afraid of being killed for the treasure? Looking at Yifeng opposite, Lu Chongqing also began to guess the identity of the other party. After all, such a large piece of purple dark crystal is not something that anyone can take out casually. Even he, the quasi-holy son of Wuji Holy Land, can't take out such a large piece of purple dark crystal. Chapter 289. Tu Meng was almost scared to pee. Brother Chongqing, my name is Yifeng. I want to join Wuji Holy Land. Do you have any ideas? Yifeng is not going to join Wuji Holy Land with the help of Luo Qianshua's identity. He wants to join Wuji Holy Land with his own money ability, and then give Luo Qianshue and Wuji Holy Land a double surprise. Join Wuji Holy Land? Tomorrow is the day when Wuji Holy Land recruits disciples once every 5 years. Don't you know? Hearing Yifeng's question, Lu Chongqing asked back in surprise. After all, in the past month, a large number of cultivators have come to Yuanling City just to participate in the entrance examination of Wuji Holy Land tomorrow. Really? Brother Chongqing, how many fairy crystals do you need to hand in to join Wuji Holy Land? Yifeng didn't expect that he would rush at such a good time. Thinking that Luo Qianshua's special recruitment conditions might be the continuation of the recruitment conditions of Wuji Holy Land, Yifeng also hurriedly asked. How many fairy crystals should be handed in? Which force would be so stupid as to set such recruitment conditions when recruiting disciples? How can they recruit people? Looking at Yifeng, who was full of expectations, Lu Chongqing said directly, if you want to join the Wuji Holy Land, you must pass the entrance examination. Qualifications, comprehension, cultivation, combat experience, etc., are all extremely important. As for how many fairy crystals you mentioned, no matter how many fairy crystals you take out, as long as you don't meet the conditions, you can't join the Wuji Holy Land. Bang! As Lu Chongqing finished speaking, Yifeng took out a fist-sized piece of purple dark crystal and placed it on the table, then said, Brother Chongqing, as long as I can be admitted to the Wuji Holy Land, this piece of purple dark crystal will also be yours. Fuck. This is purple dark crystal, not a broken stone that is sold everywhere. Take one piece if you want to chat, and take one if you want to be admitted to the Holy Land. Do you have a purple dark crystal mine at home? Seeing the purple dark crystal on the table, Lu Chongqing was really tempted. As the quasi-holy son of the Wuji Holy Land, it was not difficult to arrange an outer disciple, but he was not sure about Yifeng's identity, which made him dare not make a decision easily. A young cultivator in the first level of the immortal realm could take out 2 pieces of purple dark crystal without blinking. To be honest, even Lu Chongqing didn't dare to underestimate him at this time. Pung! At this moment, the door was suddenly kicked open by someone, and then a sturdy middle-aged man walked in with an extremely arrogant look. The quasi-holy son of Wuji Holy Land? I'm going to rob your guest room today, get out of here. If you don't accept it, let the Holy Lord Huli come to me. Just say that the fighting madman Tu Meng robbed your guest room, I want to see if she dares to come to me. Before Tu Meng finished speaking, when he saw Yifeng sitting in the guest room, his eyes were instantly filled with endless fear. That was the great terror of catching his master to the lower realm as a chores. He never dreamed that the other party would actually ascend to the upper realm, and the 2 sides would meet in such an embarrassing way. Fighting madman Tu Meng. When Lu Chongqing learned who the other party was, his eyes also showed endless fear. He had heard that Tu Meng was a terrifying existence who defeated his own Saint Master Huli when he was 1 level lower. He never thought that he would meet the other party in this place. Wait. I was scared by you and trembled all over, but why are you shaking there? At this moment, Lu Chongqing also noticed Tu Meng's abnormality. When he found that the other party was staring at Yifeng with a horrified look, he felt his mind exploded. Crap. 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 I just suspected that Brother Yifeng was not an ordinary person, but this is too extraordinary. Lu Chongqing was really scared at this time. He couldn't imagine what kind of terrifying identity Yifeng had to scare Tu Meng like this. Although Wuji Holy Land is a top force in Dongzhou, but in the entire upper world, it is nothing at all. It's ridiculous that he thought Yifeng was not worthy of being brothers with him before. Now it seems that his identity as a quasi-holy son is like shit in Yifeng's eyes. He is not worthy of being brothers with Yifeng. Yi, young master Yi. I didn't know you were here too. I didn't mean to offend you. Seeing Yifeng staring at him with a smile, Tu Meng was almost scared to tears. When Lu Chongqing heard Tu Meng calling Yifeng young master Yi, he was almost scared to death. Yifeng chatted with him, which was to give him face, but he actually accepted a piece of purple dark crystal from him. Isn't this looking for death? It's okay. Why are you here? Seeing Tu Meng full of fear, Yifeng also signaled him not to be too nervous, and then asked with curiosity. Young Master Yi. Tomorrow is the day when Wuji Holy Land recruits disciples, so I thought I would come and join in the fun. After all, I don't need to take care of my disciples, and my master can't take care of me. I'm bored. Hearing Yifeng's question, Tu Meng also hurriedly explained. Join in the fun? I think you are here to mess things up, right? From Tu Meng's just-named request to rob Lu Chongqing's guest room, Yifeng felt that Tu Meng's relationship with Wuji Holy Land didn't seem to be very good. Tu Meng. My master in the lower world is the former saint of Wuji Holy Land. And I am also a person of Wuji Holy Land. Speaking of this, Yifeng looked at Tu Meng with a gradually cold look and continued, don't blame those who don't know. I can let go of the past, but from now on, all enemies of Wuji Holy Land are my enemies, Yifeng, and I never show mercy to enemies. Peng. Hearing this, Tu Meng was frightened and immediately knelt on the ground, trembling all over and said, Young Master Yi, Tu Meng understands. If there is anything happening in Wuji Holy Land in the future, I will definitely rush to the front, and I will personally guard it tomorrow. If anyone dares to make trouble, I will be the first to rush up and fight with the other party. Okay, go back. I still have something to discuss with Brother Chongqing. Remember, you have never met me, and anything you do for Wuji Holy Land has nothing to do with me, understand? Yifeng did not want to reveal his identity too early, and reminded Tu Meng at this time. Tu Meng understands. Then I won't bother young Master Yi. After saying that, Tu Meng got up and hurriedly left the guest room, and even closed the door carefully. Fuck. Too damn unreliable, the disciple is unreliable, the master is unreliable, such a big thing, you don't know in the lower world? You should remind me, if I didn't happen to see it today, I'm afraid you will have to collect my body when I come back tomorrow. After leaving, Tu Meng also complained about Huang Xiaofei and Wu Tianming in the lower world. Chapter 290, I want to buy a Supreme Elder, Saint Lord, do you think it's enough? What did I hear just now? The missing saint is actually in the lower world? The young master, Yi, who makes Tu Meng feel scared is actually the disciple of the saint. But why can the disciple of the saint make Tu Meng in the upper world so scared? Hearing all the conversations between Yifeng and Tu Meng just now, Lu Chongqing on the side was completely dumbfounded. As for Tu Meng's identity, Lu Chongqing didn't doubt it too much. Whether it was true or not, he would know it naturally when the Saint Lord came tomorrow. Young Master Yi. Are you really the disciple of Saint Luo Qianxue? Is the missing saint really in the lower world? When Tu Meng left the guest room, Lu Chongqing also looked at Yifeng and asked. Brother Chongqing, since you heard it, it's okay to tell you. My master was plotted against by someone back then, and finally relied on a secret treasure to protect her soul, so she was able to be reborn in Shantian continent. If nothing unexpected happens, she will be able to ascend to the upper realm in 15 days. Speaking of this, seeing Lu Chongqing walk directly to the door of the room, Yifeng was confused and said, "Brother Chongqing, what are you going to do?" "Take you back to Wuji Holy Land. I have to tell the Holy Lord about this good news. Besides, with this identity, why do you need to pass the entrance examination? You can directly worship Wuji Holy Land." Hearing Yifeng's inquiry, Lu Chongqing also explained with a little excitement. "No. I don't want to rely on my master's identity, I want to worship Wuji Holy Land with my own ability." As he said, Yifeng took out 10 fist-sized purple dark crystals from the system space again. "Is this your ability? We are all family, there is no need to play so arrogantly." Looking at the row of purple dark crystals on the table, Lu Chongqing was completely numb. You know, Luo Qianxue is the disciple of the Holy Lord, and the Holy Lord is Yifeng's master. The relationship is already so strong, but he just doesn't want to use it, just playing? Forget it, take me to see the Holy Lord. However, my identity cannot be revealed for the time being. I just want to see if I can become the holy son of Wuji Holy Land with my own abilities. At this time, Yifeng suddenly changed his mind and looked at Lu Chongqing and said seriously, "Our 3 quasi-holy sons are still working hard to become real holy sons, and you want to be a holy son right away? The holy son is the face of Wuji Holy Land. There are extremely high requirements for talent, understanding, character, strength, etc. How can you buy it just because you want to? If the outside world knew that the holy son of Wuji Holy Land was bought, wouldn't it be laughed at to death?" After hearing Yifeng's idea, Lu Chongqing also shook his head helplessly. He really wanted to tell Yifeng that this idea was too whimsical. 3 hours later, when Yifeng was brought to Wuji Holy Land by Lu Chongqing, he saw 9 peaks in the distance that were shrouded in fairy mist and pierced the sky, as well as countless fairy peaks of all sizes around. Looking at the various fairy beasts flying in the air, and looking at the snow-white ground, which made him feel like he had come to a fairyland. Fuck, the upper realm is the upper realm, it is so much stronger than the lower realm. After recovering from his shock, Yifeng showed an extremely excited look. Although the Wuji Holy Land in front of him had already given him a great shock, he knew that this Wuji Holy Land still had a lot of room for improvement. It all depended on how he would improve it in the future. Young Master Yi. The fairy peak on the far left is called Taishu Peak. The Peak Master is a supreme elder of Wuji Holy Land, who is responsible for the fairy grass garden of the Holy Land. If a disciple who is suitable to become a fairy grass master is recruited, he will be sent to Taishu Peak. The fairy peak on the right side of Taishu Peak is called Zizhu Peak. The Peak Master is also a supreme elder of Wuji Holy Land, who is responsible for the alchemy pavilion of the Holy Land. If a disciple who is suitable to become an alchemist is recruited, he will be sent to Zizhu Peak. After Lu Chongqing introduced the 8 towering fairy peaks, Yifeng asked in confusion, "What about the 9th fairy peak on the far right?" "Nameless. Because the Holy Land has not yet appeared the 9th Supreme Elder, only the Supreme Elder is qualified to occupy a peak and name that fairy peak." Hearing Yifeng's inquiry, Lu Chongqing also smiled and explained. "Occupy a peak. I don't know if the piece of purple dark crystal in my hand is enough to buy a Supreme Elder." After listening to what Lu Chongqing said, Yifeng also muttered to himself. At this time, he was very interested in the identity of the Grand Elder. Occupying a peak alone, just enough to settle the people of Xinghuan sect, Yifeng felt that the last nameless peak was simply reserved for him. Crazy! Lu Chongqing, who was standing by, went crazy after hearing what Yifeng said, and he felt that Yifeng was also crazy. Buying a saint's son was impossible, and now he actually wanted to buy the identity of a Grand Elder, which was simply a daydream. What does the Grand Elder represent? It represents the top combat power of Wuji Holy Land. To put it bluntly, even if the decision is made by the Holy Lord, if half of the Supreme Elders oppose it, then the decision of the Holy Lord can be changed. After all, each supreme elder is the pillar of the Holy Land. Wuji Peak, Holy Temple. Chongqing, who is this person? A graceful woman looked at Lu Chongqing and Yifeng below and asked Lu Chongqing directly. Holy Lord, he is. Before Lu Chongqing finished speaking, Yifeng interrupted directly, Brother Chongqing, you go out first, I want to talk to the Holy Lord alone. This. Hearing Yifeng's words, Lu Chongqing hesitated for a moment, and finally gritted his teeth and turned around and left the holy temple. Seeing that this strange cultivator with only the strength of the first level of the human fairyland in front of him made Lu Chongqing ignore himself, the Holy Lord, and leave directly with just one sentence, Huli became interested in Yifeng. Holy Lord, I want to be the holy son of Wuji Holy Land. Speaking of this, Yifeng took out a fairy ring and threw it to Huli on the opposite side. How many do you need, Holy Lord? Cut it yourself. By the way, I also want to buy the identity of a supreme elder, see if it's enough. Seeing Huli catching the fairy ring, Yifeng also looked at the other party and continued. Bold. What do you think my Wuji Holy Land is? How can the Holy Son and the Supreme Elder be bought and sold? Hearing Yifeng's words, Huli also shouted at Yifeng with anger, but out of curiosity, she still checked the situation in the fairy ring. However, when Huli saw the purple dark crystal mountain in the fairy ring, which was 1,000 meters high and 500 meters in diameter, she was stunned. It is no exaggeration to say that such a huge purple dark crystal mountain is more than enough to buy the entire Wuji Holy Land.